Now, this one I believe was the early 1980s, and I've had it for a while. You can tell how faded it is. Hello, Gingles and Goblins, and welcome back to the channel. And today's video, we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite Halloween traditions. You hear me talk about it enough here on the channel, and that's the Beistle cutouts. Now, not all cutouts were made by Beistle, but most of the known cutouts are put out by the Beistle Corporation. Now, Beistle has made cutouts for just about every holiday that you can think of. They've made it for Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, you name it. If it's a holiday, Beistle more or less has their name on it. But like I said, Beistle wasn't the only one that made some of these. There were knockoff companies that did the cutouts also. So today, everybody's familiar with the vintage ones like that. But today, I'm going to focus on a few of my favorites that span from the early to late 1980s. Going to look at about 6 of these potentially. This is going to be part 1 of this, so join me if you dare.
I got a black heart, it's a new start. Welcome to the spooky club. I got a black heart, it's a new start. Welcome to the spooky club. Take that! Join the spooky club.
It's Halloween party. I got this blades come face to face with spooky, scary, frightening, horrible masks and makeup for a startling transition. Create your own costumes from Bart's selection of masks and accessories. And Bart has everything to transform your home into a haunted mansion for the big night. Table decorations to warn me.
Arts Display, 78th and North, and now a new second location at 197th and Blue Mound.
Like I mentioned at the start of this video, everybody's super familiar with most of the Beistle cutouts, like the haunted house that's hanging up right there behind me. A lot of these started coming into homes around the 1960s and the 1970s, and they even made their way into school classrooms. You would see them plastered on school bulletin boards. You would see them lined in windows, front doors, and homes all across America as you went on your trick-or-treating journey on Halloween night. And nothing besides blow molds possibly set the tone better for Halloween decor than the Beistle cutouts, at least in my opinion. My mom had her share of them, and in today's video, I'm going to touch base on the ones that are near and dear to my heart from when I grew up, and hopefully some of these will trigger memories for all of you from Halloween past as well. So, without further ado, let's get into this.
The moon rises and the night awakens. Happy Halloween from the USA Network.
All right, so first up here, this is the one I believe that originated and kicked off the Beistle cutouts. And this came from, I believe, the late 1960s. And this is the classic orange haunted house with the witch standing there by the front door, the black cat inside the window, got the old chimney up there with the bats flying around. This is one that most homes definitely had hanging on their front door. I know I had my share of memories knocking on the door and saying trick or treat, and this cutout was hanging on the front door. And you knew if a home spent money on Halloween decorations that they were more or less going to give you some decent candy and not just be one of those houses that you popped up and they were like, oh, here's a Starlight Mint that I had left over from the restaurant earlier tonight.
Oh. Why so glum, chum? I lost all my trick-or-treat candy. Take some of mine. Wow, Hershey bars, Mr. Goodbar, Kit Kats, Rulos, whatchamacallit, Reese's, all my favorites. Let's go get some more. Sure, let me go ask my mom.
Nobody says boo to Hershey's.
All right, next up, now we're going to start moving into the 1980s. I specifically remember this one my mom had, and this one's had its share of Halloweens. It's got a hole in the head right there, as you can see. My mom used to actually, before push pins were a thing, she used to put nails through these and nail them up on the front door. It's long before we had command strips and push pins and all of that stuff. So she would do it the hard way and nail it in. Now, I also remember like my 3rd grade classroom having this one, because I always remember the little mouse peeking out of the skull's nose. You can see the spider web inside of the skull's eye there. Just a great symbolic piece from the 1980s. Now, I don't even think this one was Beistle. Again, like I mentioned at the start of this video, so many companies after these took off started manufacturing these, and you would find these everywhere, from Kmart to Rite Aid to Target to Woolworths, wherever you would buy your Halloween treasures at back then.
Just in time for Halloween, K&B has savings you can really
Sink your teeth into.
watch. K&B has the 275-count bag of Tootsie Rolls for just $1.99. Tiny Tot and Instant Character costumes are $2.99 each, and glow-in-the-dark costumes or assorted ponchos are $3.99 each at K&B. For savings and selections, you can get your Halloween treats at your convenient K&B drugstore. Personally yours.
If we scroll up above the skull here, we've got like a Grim Reaper skeleton face right beside the Warrant Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinking Rich record. Now, this one I believe was the early 1980s, and I've had it for a while. You can tell how faded it is. Got the push pin right there through the old nail hole. But I do love the artwork on this. This definitely was in consideration one time for me getting it as a tattoo, but ultimately I decided to get a full body Grim Reaper instead. But I love the red hood cloak there. It's just an awesome piece. Again, you can definitely tell it's got like the 1980s artwork on it. It's really funny how you could see the artwork on most of these cutouts change over the decades. Again, seen in the 1950s, you saw that original haunted house Beistle cutout had the bright orange, vibrant colors, and then they started getting more into, believe it or not, seeing that the 80s were full of neons and pastels, they started getting into these more subtle color designs for the cutouts. But those are two of my favorites, and I specifically remember them from like 1986 through 1990, as a matter of fact, hanging up in my mom's house.
It's Halloween time again. Time for boobies, like Bitsy Spider and Folder Guide. Get one free with every total purchase of $15 or more, and get all 6 exclusively at Eckerd's. Stop in, save on great Halloween decorations, like 140 bulb spooky lights or 20 bulb M&M lights, plus the entire Fall Harvest collection. All this week, only $8.88 each. Hurry in before these spooky characters disappear. It's right at Eckerd.
Now, talk about the vacuum forms from Target all the time, and they are super cool, and they are kind of like a cutout to a point. And the witch is cool, but I don't think she's as cool as this witch. Again, I'm not sure if it's Beistle or not, but another piece that I remember during my childhood, I specifically remember this one hanging on my school classroom door. I don't believe we had this one at my house, but I remember my 2nd or 3rd grade teacher had this wicked witch here hanging on the classroom door. The detail on her face there, she's got the warts and the menacing eyes and the silver hair, which apparently silver hair now is all the rage. So ladies, if you're going silver, just let it go natural, because apparently people are paying top dollar to look like her hair now. So just let it be, and let it be all natural. But again, you can see it's a little worse for wear. It's got the creases in it, and it's got the hole in it, and I've got the push pin in it. She's got the old school buckled witch hat, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, you can never go wrong with a Wicked Witch piece, be it a cutout, vacuum form, blow mold, animatronic for Halloween, because nothing's better than a Wicked Witch for Halloween.
All of us at 11 Alive want you to have a happy and safe Halloween.
And I've touched base on this many times. Here's the oversized Beistle jack-o'-lantern. We had this one when I was a kid. This isn't the original. This is a remake, facsimile, whatever you want to call it. I got this a few years ago, about 2 years ago. at a shop out in Southern California. They were only asking like $4 for it. Super cool piece, and I definitely thought it was worth $4 because something this big, I really didn't want to order online because I didn't know how the postal service would treat it in its packaging, and it could arrive okay, but it could have arrived bent and then a folded cutout. While it could look vintage, a brand new one, I would kind of want that new car smell, and I would just want it fresh out of the package with no creases or any of that stuff. But my vintage ones, I prefer the creases. I know, I'm a weirdo, but this is definitely one of my favorites. My mom used to have this one in the front window because it was such a big piece.
This Halloween, capture your ghosts and goblins on genuine Kodak film from Thrifty. Whether it's print, slide, or movie film, Kodak is the choice of professionals. Thrifty carries a full line of Kodak film, including C126-24 exposure, C110 and C135 24 exposure in regular and high-speed print film, KR135 36 exposure slide film, and Super 8 movie film. Remember, the sharper you want your memories, the more you need Kodak film and Thrifty.
And I know, before we get into the Dracula vampire here, how ironic, right? There's a Nirvana Hit Parader poster hanging beside a Warrant Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinkin' Rich LP while I'm wearing a Poison Look What the Cat Dragged In t-shirt. Used to be back in the day, it was like, what side are you on? Are you grunge, alternative, or are you hair metal? Back then, you couldn't be both. It was like East Coast and West Coast rap. You had to pick a side, but nowadays, it's a calmer time. The 90s were wild. You can enjoy just about any type of music without having to pick a side. But anyway, back to the 80s here. We've got the vampire cutout here, Dracula. There was also a Frankenstein one, and I've got that one also somewhere. But look at the detail on Dracula's eyes there, the fangs. Again, you can see the cape there. The detail on this stuff was just immaculate back in the day. But again, this piece here would have originated in the late 60s, early 70s. This would have been sometime in the 80s. See what I mean about the 80s where everything was so colorful? How the colors just kind of got a little bit more drab. But then in the 90s, they picked up again. Go figure.
Tonight at 8, Raggedy Ann and Andy help a sad little pumpkin find a home on Halloween in the children's special, The Pumpkin Who Couldn't Smile, here on WUTV, Buffalo 29.
Speaking of the early 2000s, I touched base on this in one of the videos before, but that's a tinsel glow-in-the-dark jack-o'-lantern, and it still glows in the dark, as a matter of fact. And that one up there is from the early 80s also. I kind of consider that one just like a Thanksgiving cutout. It's just a stack of jack-o'-lanterns, not even a stack because they're not stacked. It's just a duo of jack-o'-lanterns, so to speak. Now this is one of my favorites here. 1980s artwork at its best here. You've got the full moon with the witch flying. The moon is way faded at this point. But you've got the ghosts coming out of the haunted house. You've got the happy jack-o'-lantern. The grass could be a little bit more dead in my opinion. Got the black cat, the creepy trees. And look at that. It's even got the old grocery price tag there, if I can get it in focus. That's just the icing on the cake right there. But that is definitely an amazing, amazing cutout with the old haunted house. Got everything you could ask for wrapped up into that one.
The trick to saving is treating yourself to these Hy-Vee specials. Tombstone Pizza, 2 for $6. Ruffles Potato Chip, $1.88. Nabisco Premium Crackers, 88 cents. And USDA Choice Beef Chuck 7-bone roast, $1.27 a pound. Get low prices all day, every day. Shop Hy-Vee. And low prices.
Now this one's tried and true. It's a little beat up. It's all creased up. But this is another one, much like the haunted house at the beginning, that everyone is probably familiar with. It's the traditional black cat with the orange sky in the background. This one, great memories here. I think just about everybody in my neighborhood had one of these at some point in time. And it's an amazing piece. This is one, again, because I've got so many tattoos that are all spooky related. I don't have any black cats tattooed on me yet. I do have a few empty spots. They're few and far between. I do think I could get this as a small piece. And I believe that one day that may have to become a tattoo on my body, because it is definitely a super cool cutout. Sound off in the comments below if you remember this one.
Oh, the Disney Channel is wishing you a happy Halloween.
And then I've shown this one before. This one was an original also from the 80s or 90s, but this is a facsimile reproduction, whatever you want to call it. The old Beistle skulls. I do have this one tattooed on my arm because it was one of my favorites. Actually got this tattoo for a cover-up of a tattoo that I wasn't really feeling much anymore because I just loved the bright, vibrant colors on it. See, this is, when I think of the 1980s, this is how I think all of the artwork should have been. Very bright, very vibrant, but as you can see, a lot of it wasn't. I mean, maybe they were. Maybe mine are just old and they're just faded now, but if I remember correctly, I think a lot of them were kind of drab and dull, though, instead of being very, very colorful like this one here, or the original Beistle Haunted House. And even the Dancing Honeycomb Frankenstein from Target last year captures a lot of those original vibes. And I know a lot of people are going to ask, well, where is that Beistle tattoo on you? Well, there we go, right there. There's the Beistle skull right there for the world to see. Loved it so much, I had to put it right there on my arm. And I did want to show this. I saw these the other day at the Dollar Tree. They've already put out pumpkin jack-o'-lantern seeds. 2 for $1.50 now, 75 cents a pack. Who says you can't find anything good for under $1? So I think this year I'm going to try my hand at growing my own little pumpkin patch in my backyard.
There's goblins, there's ghouls, there's pirates at that. Halloween's coming, the trick-or-treaters are out. But look at that witch on Halloween night. She's the first one with a blinking pumpkin light. Pumpkin light flashes so everyone knows she is near. Pumpkin light makes Halloween safer and scarier this year. And pumpkin light safer for a spooky pumpkin too. Just pop it right in and watch your pumpkin go boo. Here's where pumpkin light's waiting for you.
Available at Pathmark, Genovese, and Rickles Home Centers.
And as I was flipping through an issue of Fangoria magazine, because there was one of these issues I had that had a whole spread about cutouts and vintage Halloween decorations. However, I couldn't find it at the moment. How many of us did this? 8 CDs or 12 cassettes for 1 cent? The question is, did you ever pay your bill?
Weekend, get a whole music library for a penny. How? By joining the Columbia Record and Tape Club. Choose 11 hit records or tapes for just 1 cent. Big hits like George Michael, Michael Jackson, Randy Travis, Midnight Oil, In Excess, Hall & Oates, Robert Plant, Terrence Trent D'Arby, and hundreds more. Plus the chance to get 2 more free. Or take 4 compact discs for a penny. Look for this ad in this weekend's newspapers, magazines, TV Guide, or your mailbox. 11 albums or 4 CDs. That's a sound investment for a penny.
You know, this tattoo flash art sheet that I have on my wall definitely deserves to have the Beistle cutout added into it. Well, Michael Myers approves of the 1980s Beistle cutouts that I showed here in this video because, much like Michael making his return in 1988, Beistle definitely had a big resurgence in the 1980s.
Now he's on his way.
You're talking about him as if he were a human being. That part of him died years ago.
He's here, Sheriff.
Why?
10 years ago, he tried to kill Laurie Strode. Now he wants her daughter.
It's Halloween. I mean, don't you want to get dressed up in a really scary costume and get some candy?
He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way. But this time, a whole town is ready. Or are they?
Who's gonna be next?
Are you ready for Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, premiering Saturday on HBO?
Alright, so that's going to wrap up my trip down memory lane with part 1 of my Beistle cutout collection. Now, I've got plenty more of these that I can show in future installments, but today was the first installment of it, so I definitely hope that you enjoyed this, and you probably had a few of these as well. If you did, sound off in the comments below. And if you're looking forward to part 2 of this, also sound off in comments below, because I definitely love the old school vintage Halloween vibes. You can't go wrong with that. They just don't make it like they used to. But what's old is always new again. So here's hoping eventually they can start reproducing a lot of this stuff, the blow molds included, and we can start seeing that hit store shelves once again. So if you're new here, I cover all types of Halloween content, but not just Halloween content. No. I do all things spooky, holiday related, and retro related here on Derek BlackHearts Spooky Club. So if you're new here and you like this type of content, how about slashing that subscribe button and join in the club. And until next time, I'll see you on the dark side.
I got a black heart, it's a new start. Welcome to the Spooky Club. I got a black heart, it's a new start. Welcome to the Spooky Club. Take that! Join the Spooky Club.